The officer gripped the teen's arm tightly, twisting it with a sneer. He had no idea he was about to shatter his own world by attacking the wrong girl. Beneath the mask of authority, secrets were stirring, ready to erupt. In the quiet suburbs of Austin, Texas, the evening sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the tree-lined streets. Birds chirped lazily, and the air carried the faint scent of barbecue from nearby homes. 16-year-old Mia Walker walked home from her after-school job at the local library. Her backpack slung over one shoulder, she hummed a tune, her mind on the weekend ahead. Mia was no ordinary teen. Raised by a single father who taught her self-defense and resilience, she carried herself with quiet confidence. But today that confidence would be tested. Officer Kyle Harlan patrolled the neighborhood in his cruiser, his eyes scanning for anything out of place. He was known among colleagues for his aggressive style, quick to assert power. Complaints against him had piled up, but they always vanished in the bureaucracy. Beneath his badge lay a history of unchecked force. As Mia crossed the street, Harlan's cruiser slowed. He rolled down the window. "Hey kid, where you headed?" Mia paused, polite but wary. "Home, sir. Just a few blocks away." Harlan's eyes narrowed. She fit no description, but something about her calm demeanor irked him. "ID, now. I don't have it on me. I'm 16 walking home." He stepped out, his boots thudding on the pavement. "Don't get smart with me." Without warning, he grabbed her wrist, yanking her toward the car. Mia winced. "Let go. You're hurting me." A sharp twist and pain shot through her arm. She cried out, but Harlan shoved her against the cruiser. Resisting an officer? That's how it is. Passers-by stopped, phones emerging from pockets. One woman dialed emergency, whispering urgently. Harlan didn't notice. He cuffed Mia roughly, ignoring her tears. "You'll learn respect in holding." But as he drove her to the station, he had no clue who her father was. Chuck Norris, the legend himself, a man who had faced down real threats in his military days and on screen. Chuck had taught Mia to stay calm, to document everything. In her pocket, her phone was already recording. At the station, Mia sat in a cold room, her arm throbbing. Officers processed her for disorderly conduct. Harlan smirked, filing the report with fabricated details. Chuck's phone buzzed. An emergency alert from Mia's app. His heart stopped. He listened to the audio, her pleas, Harlan's threats. Chuck Norris rose from his chair, his face a mask of controlled fury. Beneath it, a storm brewed. He grabbed his keys. This officer had just made the gravest mistake. The drive to the station was silent, Chuck's mind racing. He knew the system too well, how it protected its own. But tonight the mask would crack. He arrived, demanding to see his daughter. The desk sergeant paled, recognizing him. "Mr. Norris? We'll get her right away." Mia emerged, bruised but unbroken. She hugged Chuck tightly. "Dad, he hurt me for nothing." Chuck's eyes met Harlan's across the room. The officer froze, realization dawning. Who was this man? Beneath the mask of routine patrol lay a web of corruption. And Chuck Norris was about to pull the thread. Part 2, 5012 characters. Harlan stared at Chuck, his confidence wavering. He had no idea the man before him was a force that could dismantle empires. Beneath the mask, fear crept in. Chuck held Mia close, his voice steady. "Who did this?" Mia pointed. "Him. Officer Harlan." Chuck turned, his gaze piercing. "You laid hands on my daughter. Why?" Harlan swallowed. "She resisted. Standard procedure." "Lies," Chuck said softly. "I have the recording." The station buzzed with tension. Other officers shifted uncomfortably. Whispers spread, "That's Chuck Norris." The sergeant intervened. "We'll investigate internally, sir." Chuck shook his head. "Not good enough. Release her now." They complied, uncuffing Mia. But as father and daughter left, Harlan seethed. He texted his superior, "Problem. Norris involved." Back home, Chuck tended to Mia's arm. Ice pack in place, he listened to her story. "He grabbed me for no reason, Dad. Said I looked suspicious." Chuck nodded. "Some were badges to serve. Others to control." Mia teared up. "What if it happens to someone else?" "It won't. Not after this." Chuck uploaded the audio to a secure cloud, then called an old friend, a journalist named Elena Ruiz, known for exposing corruption on her blog. "Elena, I need your help. My daughter was assaulted by a cop." Elena's voice sharpened. "Chuck, send me everything." By morning, Elena had the file. She dug deeper, finding Harlan's record, 3 prior complaints, all dismissed. One involved a teen boy with a broken wrist. Elena met Chuck at a coffee shop. This isn't isolated. Harlan's part of a unit, Shadow Patrol. They target minorities, fabricate charges. Protected from above. Chuck's jaw tightened. Who protects them? A captain. Name's Vickers. He buries reports. Chuck stood. Then we unbury them. Mia, recovering at home, scrolled social media. Friends messaged, saw the video someone posted. You okay? A bystander had filmed the arrest. It was going viral, hashtags like #JusticeForMia trending. Harlan saw it too. Panic set in. He called Vickers. Boss, it's Norris. The girl's his kid. Vickers cursed. Keep quiet. I'll handle it. But beneath Vickers' calm mask lay desperation. He shredded files, but digital trails remained. Chuck trained in his home gym, punches precise. This fight wasn't physical, yet. He gathered evidence. Witness statements, old complaints. Elena published the first article. Legend's daughter assaulted. Cops' hidden abuses revealed. It exploded online. Protests formed outside the station. Signs read, "No more masks, reveal the truth." Harlan watched from inside, sweating. He confronted a colleague. You leaked it? No. But it's time someone did. Tension escalated. Vickers ordered Harlan to lay low. But Chuck was just beginning. Mia joined her dad. I'm ready to speak out. Chuck smiled. That's my girl. Beneath the mask of fear, strength emerged. Officer Harlan stared at Chuck across the police station, his confidence cracking like thin ice. He had no idea the man before him was a force that could topple empires. Beneath the mask of his badge, fear crept into his bones. Chuck held Mia tightly, his voice low but steady. Who did this to you, kid? Mia pointed, her bruised arm trembling. Him. Officer Harlan. Chuck turned, his eyes locking onto Harlan's. The air grew heavy, charged with unspoken promises. You laid hands on my daughter. Why? Harlan swallowed hard, his smirk fading. She resisted. Standard procedures, sir. Lies, Chuck said, his voice calm but cutting. I have the recording. The station buzzed with tension. Officers exchanged glances. Whispers spread like wildfire. That's Chuck Norris. The Chuck Norris. The desk sergeant stepped forward, nervous. We'll investigate internally, Mr. Norris. Please let us handle it. Chuck shook his head, slow and deliberate. Not good enough. Release her. Now. They complied, uncuffing Mia's wrists. Her hands shook as she rubbed the red marks. Harlan watched, seething, his fingers twitching. As father and daughter walked out, he pulled out his phone, texting his superior. Problem. Norris involved. It's his kid. At home, Chuck sat Mia down, an ice pack pressed to her arm. The living room was quiet, save for the hum of the AC. Moonlight filtered through the blinds, casting soft shadows. Mia recounted the arrest, her voice small but firm. He grabbed me for no reason, Dad. Said I looked suspicious. Chuck nodded, his jaw tight. Some were badges to serve. Others to control. Mia's eyes welled up. What if it happens to someone else? What if they don't have a dad like you? Chuck's heart clenched. It won't. Not after this. He uploaded the audio from Mia's phone to a secure cloud, then dialed an old friend. Elena Ruiz, a journalist with a small but fierce blog exposing corruption. Her voice crackled through the phone. Chuck. What's wrong? My daughter was assaulted by a cop. I need your help. Elena's tone sharpened. Send me everything. Now. By dawn, Elena had the file. She dug into Harlan's record. 3 complaints for excessive force. 2 against teens, 1 against a single mother. All buried, dismissed without investigation. She met Chuck at a quiet coffee shop, the air thick with the scent of roasted beans. This isn't isolated, she said, sliding a folder across the table. Harlan's part of a unit called Shadow Patrol. They target minorities, fabricate charges. Someone high up protects them. Chuck's eyes darkened. Who? Captain Vickers. He buries reports, intimidates witnesses. Chuck stood, his boots heavy on the hardwood floor. Then we unbury them. Mia, recovering at home, scrolled through her phone. Friends messaged, saw the video. You okay? A bystander had filmed the arrest, posted it online. It was going viral, hashtags like #JusticeForMia trending across platforms. Harlan saw it too, his stomach twisting. He called Vickers, his voice low. Boss, it's Norris. The girl's his kid. This is bad. Vickers cursed through the line. Keep your mouth shut. I'll handle it. But beneath Vickers' calm mask, panic stirred. He shredded files in his office, But digital trails lingered, emails, logs, deleted body cam footage. Chuck trained in his home gym, his punches precise, his mind sharper. This wasn't a fight for fists, not yet. He gathered evidence. Witness statements from neighbors, old complaints against Harlan, a leaked memo from Elena's source. Elena published her first article. Legend's daughter assaulted. Cops' hidden abuses revealed. It spread like wildfire, racking up thousands of shares in hours. Outside the Austin police station, protests formed. Signs read, "No more masks, reveal the truth." Voices chanted, demanding accountability. Harlan watched from inside, sweat beading on his brow. He cornered a colleague in the break room. "You leaked it, didn't you?" The officer shook his head. "No. But it's time someone did." Vickers called Harlan to his office. "Lay low. This blows over or you're done." But Chuck was just beginning. Mia joined him at the kitchen table, her arms still sore but her eyes fierce. "I'm ready to speak out, Dad." Chuck smiled, pride swelling. "That's my girl." Beneath the mask of fear, strength was rising. The city was waking up and the truth was breaking free. If this story grips you, subscribe for more tales that tear off the mask. Share it and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Captain Vickers slammed his desk, his mask of composure slipping. He never dreamed a routine arrest would summon Chuck Norris. Beneath the polished badge, his secrets teetered on the edge of exposure. The Austin police station hummed with tension. Outside, protesters' chants echoed, "No more lies. Justice for Mia." Their signs glowed under streetlights, casting shadows on the concrete. Inside, Vickers paced, his mind racing. Harlan's screw-up had lit a fuse and the explosion was coming. Chuck sat across from Elena Ruiz in her cramped office, papers strewn everywhere. The air smelled of ink and old coffee. Elena scrolled through her laptop, her eyes sharp. "I found more," she said. "Shadow Patrol isn't just Harlan. It's a network. 5 officers, all under Vickers. They've been shaking down neighborhoods for years." Chuck leaned forward, his voice low. "Proof?" Elena slid a USB drive across the table. "Deleted body cam footage. Recovered from a server. Shows Harlan roughing up a kid last year." Vickers signed off on the cover-up. Chuck's fingers tightened around the drive. "This ends now." At home, Mia watched the protests on her phone, her arms still sore. The viral video of her arrest had hit 1 million views. Comments flooded in. "This happened to my brother. Cops think they're untouchable." Her heart pounded. She wasn't alone. She texted her best friend, Sarah. "I'm scared, but I want to join the protest." Sarah replied, "You're brave, Mia. I'll go with you." Chuck returned, finding Mia lacing her sneakers. "Dad, I need to be there. People are fighting for me." He hesitated, then nodded. "Stay close. We do this together." The protest swelled downtown, hundreds strong. Mia held a sign, "Truth breaks the mask." Chuck walked beside her, his presence calming but commanding. Passers-by whispered, recognizing him. "Is that Chuck Norris?" A local news van arrived, cameras rolling. Elena tipped them off. A reporter approached Mia. "You're the girl from the video. What happened?" Mia took a deep breath, her voice steady. "Officer Harlan hurt me for no reason. But it's not just me. It's everyone they target." The crowd cheered, amplifying her words. Chuck stood proud, but his eyes scanned the scene. He spotted a figure in the shadows, Harlan watching from an alley. Harlan's pulse raced. He hadn't expected this. Protests, news coverage, Norris. He dialed Vickers. "They're out here." The girl's talking to reporters. Vickers snapped, "Get out of sight. You're a liability." But Harlan stayed, his ego bruised. He muttered, "She's just a kid. I'll fix this." Across town, Elena met a whistleblower, a rookie cop named Jenkins. Nervous, he handed her a folder. Incident reports. Vickers altered them. "I couldn't stay silent." Elena's eyes lit up. "This ties Vickers to at least 10 cover-ups." She sent the files to Chuck. He read them in his truck, parked near the protest. Each report detailed abuse. A father tossed, a teen shoved to the ground. All dismissed. All linked to Shadow Patrol. Chuck's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Back off, Norris. Or it gets worse." He stared at the screen, unfazed. Threats were nothing new. But this was personal. At the protest, Mia spoke again, her voice rising. "We won't be silenced. The truth is coming." The crowd roared. A chant began, "Break the mask. Break the mask." Harlan slipped away, his hands shaking. Vickers called again. "Meet me at the warehouse. We need a plan." But beneath Vickers' orders, desperation grew. Files were leaking. Protests were spreading. And Chuck Norris was closing in. Chuck drove Mia home, her courage burning bright. "You did good, kid." Mia smiled. "We're not done, Dad." He nodded. "Not by a long shot." Beneath the mask of a quiet city, a storm was brewing. The truth was clawing its way out and nothing could stop it. If this fight for justice moves you, subscribe to see more stories that rip off the mask. Share this and tell us in the comments, what would you do to stand up for the truth? The warehouse door creaked shut behind Harlan, the sound echoing in the dim, musty space. He thought he could outsmart Chuck Norris, but beneath his bravado, a trap was tightening. The mask of control was about to shatter. Captain Vickers stood in the shadows, his face taut. "You've ruined us, Harlan," he hissed. "Norris is digging and that journalist won't stop." Harlan paced, his boots scuffing the concrete. "It's just one girl. We can spin this." Vickers sneered. "She's Norris' daughter. You didn't check her ID?" Harlan froze. He hadn't. His mistake was a spark and Austin was now ablaze. Across town, Chuck sat with Elena in her office, the glow of her laptop casting stark light. She pulled up new files from Jenkins, the whistleblower. "These are financials," she said. "Shadow Patrol's been extorting local businesses. Payments funneled through a shell company." Vickers signs off. Chuck's eyes narrowed. "How deep does this go?" "Deep. Maybe to the mayor's office." Chuck clenched his fist. "Then we pull every thread." Mia, at home, scrolled through social media. The hashtag Justice for Mia hashtag had spread globally, with thousands sharing stories of police abuse. A DM caught her eye, from an anonymous account. "Check the warehouse on 5th Street. Evidence there." She showed Chuck. He frowned. "Could be a setup." "But what if it's real?" Mia asked, her voice firm. "We can't ignore it." Chuck nodded. "We'll check it. But you stay safe." Elena rallied her sources, cross-referencing the tip. "A contact confirmed. That warehouse is a drop point. Shadow Patrol stores files there, off the books." Chuck drove to the warehouse under cover of night, the city quiet except for distant sirens. The air was thick, humid, the stars hidden by clouds. He parked a block away, moving silently, his training kicking in. No weapons, just his wits and a small camera. Inside he found crates, dusty and unmarked. One held folders, incident reports, photos of bruised victims, lists of payouts. He recorded everything, his breath steady despite the risk. A noise, footsteps. Chuck slipped behind a crate. Harlan entered with another officer, their voices low. "Vickers says burn it all," Harlan said. "No evidence, no case." The officer hesitated. "Norris is out there. You sure about this?" Harlan snapped. "He's one man. We're the system." Chuck's camera caught every word. He sent the footage to Elena, then slipped out undetected. By morning, Elena's blog dropped a bombshell. Exposed. Shadow Patrol's secret stash. The article included Chuck's footage, blurred for safety but damning. Protests doubled outside City Hall, chants louder, "Break the mask." And the lies. Vickers watched the news, his office walls closing in. He called a contact in City Hall. "Shut this down. Now." But the contact was cold. "You're toxic, Vickers. The mayor's cutting ties." Harlan, holed up at home, saw the article. His phone buzzed, a text from Vickers. "You're on your own." Panic set in. Harlan grabbed a burner phone, typing a new threat to Chuck. "Stop or Mia pays." Chuck read it, his face stone. He showed Mia. "They're scared," he said. "That means we're close." Mia nodded, her fear tempered by resolve. "Let's end this, Dad." Elena met them at a diner, her laptop open. "The footage is airtight. Jenkins is testifying tomorrow. But Vickers is planning something." Chuck's eyes gleamed. "Let him try." The city buzzed, protesters marching, news vans circling. Beneath the mask of authority, cracks spread wider. Vickers and Harlan thought they held power, but Chuck Norris was rewriting the rules. Mia posted online, "We're fighting for everyone silenced. Join us." The response was electric. Thousands pledged support. As night fell, Chuck prepared for the next move. The warehouse evidence was safe, but the fight was far from over. Truth was rising, unstoppable. The city pulsed with rage, protesters' chants shaking the streets. Captain Vickers thought he could outrun the truth, but Chuck Norris was closing in. Beneath the mask of power, his empire was crumbling. Dawn broke over Austin, the sky bruised with clouds. Chuck stood in his living room, Mia by his side, watching news coverage of the protests. The warehouse footage had ignited a firestorm. Reporters swarmed City Hall, demanding answers. Hashtag justice for Mia trended worldwide. Elena Ruiz burst into their home, her eyes wide. Jenkins is testifying today, she said. But Vickers is moving. He's called a press conference to spin this. Chuck's jaw tightened. He's desperate. That's when mistakes happen. Mia clutched her phone, reading messages from supporters. Dad, they're planning a march to the courthouse. I want to be there. Chuck hesitated, the threat from Harlan still fresh. Stop or Mia pays. But Mia's eyes burned with resolve. Okay, he said. But you stay with me. At the courthouse, hundreds gathered, signs waving. Truth over power. Elena coordinated with protest leaders, live streaming the event. Jenkins, the whistleblower, arrived, flanked by security. His face was pale but his voice steady. I've seen what Shadow Patrol does, he told the crowd. They hurt people. I have proof. Inside, Vickers faced the press, his tie too tight, his smile forced. These allegations are baseless, he lied. Officer Harlan acted alone. We're investigating. But the crowd outside drowned him out, chanting, break the mask. Break the mask. Chuck and Mia stood among them, unnoticed at first. Then a teenager spotted Chuck, gasping. It's him. Norris. Whispers spread, phones raised, filming. Harlan watched from a distance, hidden in a parked car. His hands shook, gripping a burner phone. Vickers had cut him loose, but he wasn't done. He typed a message to an unknown contact. Take care of Norris. Tonight. Elena's phone pinged, a tip from her source. Vickers is meeting someone at the old mill, she whispered to Chuck. Could be a payoff. Chuck's eyes narrowed. I'm going. Mia grabbed his arm. Dad, it's dangerous. He smiled, calm but fierce. I've faced worse. Stay with Elena. Night fell, the mill looming dark against the skyline. Chuck moved silently, his boots soft on the gravel. Inside he heard voices, Vickers and a man in a suit exchanging a briefcase. This buys your silence, Vickers said. Chuck recorded it, his camera hidden. The man nodded. City Hall stays out of it. But then a shadow moved. Harlan, lurking nearby, spotted Chuck. He lunged, a pipe in hand. You're done, Norris. Chuck dodged, swift and controlled. He grabbed Harlan's wrist, twisting until the pipe clattered to the ground. You don't learn, do you? Chuck said, his voice low. Harlan crumpled, fear in his eyes. Vickers made me do it. Chuck held him down, camera still rolling. Tell that to the judge. Elena's live stream exploded as she posted Chuck's footage. The crowd outside the mill grew, alerted by social media. Sirens wailed, honest cops tipped off by Jenkins arrived. Vickers tried to flee, but protesters blocked the exits, chanting, no more lies. He was cuffed, his mask of authority shattered. Chuck dragged Harlan outside, handing him to the police. The crowd cheered, phones capturing every second. Mia ran to her father, hugging him. You did it, Dad. Chuck shook his head. We did it. You, me, them. Elena uploaded the final evidence. Vickers' payoff, Harlan's confession. The city roared with triumph. Beneath the mask of corruption, justice was breaking through. But the fight wasn't over. One thread remained, City Hall. Chuck knew the truth was bigger and he wouldn't stop. The city exhaled, its streets alive with hope. Captain Vickers and Officer Harlan were in cuffs, but Chuck Norris knew the truth ran deeper. Beneath the mask of victory, one final secret waited. Morning light bathed Austin, the air crisp with promise. Chuck stood outside the courthouse, Mia at his side. Protesters had dwindled, but their signs still littered the steps. Truth wins. News vans packed up, reporters buzzing about the arrests. Vickers' payoff and Harlan's confession, caught on Chuck's camera, had sealed their fate. Inside, Jenkins, the whistleblower, testified before a grand jury. His voice shook but held firm. Shadow Patrol targeted the vulnerable. Vickers buried it all. He presented the folder, altered reports, victim testimonies. The jury listened rapt. Elena Ruiz sat with Chuck and Mia in a nearby diner, the clink of dishes filling the silence. Her laptop glowed with new tips. City Hall's nervous, she said. The mayor's aide was at that mill payoff. We've got a name, Councilman Reed. Chuck sipped his coffee, eyes steady. He's the last piece. Mia frowned, her arms still bandaged. Will they protect him, Dad? Like they did Vickers? Not this time, Chuck said. The people won't let them. Elena nodded. The footage is everywhere. Protests are planned nationwide. Hashtag justice for Mia is a movement now. Mia's phone buzzed. Messages from strangers thanking her for speaking out. One read, you gave me courage to report my assault. Tears welled in her eyes. This isn't just about me anymore. Chuck squeezed her hand. It never was, kid. Elena's blog published a new exposé, City Hall's Shadow, Councilman Reed linked to corruption. It detailed Reed's role, approving budgets that funneled money to Shadow Patrol's shell company. The article spread faster than the last, shared by thousands. At City Hall, Reed watched the news, his office dim. He called a contact, voice low. Fix this or I'm exposed. The contact laughed bitterly. You're done, Reed. Norris broke the system. Outside, a new protest formed, larger than before. Mia joined, holding a megaphone. We've unmasked the truth, she shouted. No one's above it. The crowd roared, their voices a wave crashing against corruption. Chuck stayed back, watching proudly. His phone pinged, a message from Elena. Reed's resigning. Press conference in an hour. At the conference, Reed stood pale, cameras flashing. I'm stepping down, he mumbled. Effective immediately. Boos erupted, but Chuck felt no joy. Justice wasn't vengeance, it was accountability. Harlan, in a holding cell, saw the news. His bravado was gone, replaced by regret. He'd thought power was his shield. Now it was his cage. Vickers, awaiting trial, sat silently. His mask of authority lay in pieces. The system he'd gamed had turned on him. Chuck and Mia drove home, the city quieter now. Dad, Mia said, will things change? Chuck nodded. They already are. You started that. Mia smiled, her strength shining. She posted online. The truth broke the mask. Keep fighting. Comments poured in, stories of hope, of others standing up. Elena met them later, her eyes bright. Jenkins is safe. More officers are talking. The department's launching a full investigation. Chuck exhaled. Good. But we stay vigilant. The sun set, casting gold over Austin. The city felt lighter, as if a weight had lifted. Beneath the mask of fear, courage had won. But Chuck knew the fight wasn't over. Systems rebuild. Truth needed guardians. The dust settled in Austin, but the echoes of truth still rang. Chuck Norris and Mia had torn off the mask of corruption, but beneath the victory, a new fight was dawning. Weeks later, the city glowed under a crisp fall sky. Leaves crunched underfoot as Mia walked to school, her arm healed, her spirit stronger. The hashtag Justice for Mia movement had sparked reform. The police department, under new leadership, announced mandatory body cams and civilian oversight. Shadow Patrol was disbanded, its officers facing trials. Chuck sat on his porch, sipping coffee, the morning quiet. Mia joined him, her backpack slung over one shoulder. Dad, it feels different now, she said. People aren't as scared. Chuck nodded, his eyes warm. You did that, Mia. You spoke up. She blushed. We did it. You, me, Elena, Jenkins, everyone. At City Hall, the new mayor addressed a crowd. We've failed you, she admitted. But we're rebuilding trust. She announced a task force, led by community leaders, to review police conduct. Cheers rose, softer but hopeful. Elena Ruiz, now a local hero, published her final piece, Unmasked, How One Girl Changed a City. It detailed Mia's courage, Chuck's resolve, and the people's power. The article ended with a call. Keep holding the powerful accountable. Mia read it, tears in her eyes. She'd started a scholarship fund with donations from supporters, helping victims of police abuse. This is for them, she told Chuck. For the ones who couldn't fight. Chuck hugged her tightly. You're stronger than I ever was. Across town, Jenkins, now promoted, trained new recruits. Serve, don't control, he told them. His whistleblowing had cost him friends, but he stood tall, unmasked. In a jail cell, Harlan stared at the ceiling. His trial loomed, his badge gone. He'd thought power was eternal. Now he faced its cost. Vickers, awaiting sentencing, sat in silence. His empire of lies had collapsed, leaving only regret. The system he'd manipulated no longer shielded him. Councilman Reed, disgraced, had fled Austin. Rumors swirled of federal investigations. Threads Chuck and Elena had quietly passed to the FBI. At a community center, Mia spoke to a youth group. Don't stay silent, she urged. Your voice matters. Teens nodded, inspired. One girl whispered, You're my hero. Chuck watched from the back, pride swelling. He'd fought battles on screen and in life, but Mia's courage was his greatest victory. Later, Elena met them for dinner, the diner warm with laughter. The movement's spreading, she said. Cities are copying Austin's reforms. Mia grinned. It's not just us anymore. Chuck raised his glass. To truth. And to never stopping. The city moved forward, Scars healing but lessons etched deep. Protests had quieted, but vigilance remained. Online, #Justice for Mia evolved into #Unmask the Truth, a global call for accountability. Mia posted a final update: "We broke the mask, but the fight continues. Stand up, speak out." Comments flooded in, stories of new protests, new voices rising. Chuck drove Mia to school the next day, the radio playing softly. "Dad," she said, "do you think we made a difference?" He smiled, his voice steady. "Look around, kid. You changed everything." Austin shone brighter, its people bolder. Beneath the mask of fear, they'd found strength. The truth wasn't just free, it was unstoppable. Chuck glanced at Mia, her eyes bright with purpose. The fight for justice wasn't